And as I said earlier, why would you conceive yourself or believe yourself to be anything but perfect? Because you are exactly perfect for what you are here to experience. The important thing is understanding that, and thereby coming to understand your own perfection and having true acceptance of yourself for what you are and all that you are. Because, folks, you can never be anything else other than yourself. So obviously that's why you're here. You're here to be yourself. So you need to experience that and come to understand what it is to be yourself and to be comfortable in being yourself and understand what yourself has to contribute to the mind of creation, the mind of God, the mind of this reality, because that's what you are. You are a manifestation of one particular frequency of that mind. I've done whole shows about this back in 2009 or 2010, and I also covered this in my film, The Awakening, how you are quite literally one frequency of the mind of God, which in this experience is also the mind of man, in the experience of man anyway. And that's what people need to understand. And the thing is, they'll never truly understand what it is to be conscious, and they'll never understand what their consciousness is until they understand this about themselves. And then when they can begin to look around and see that this is also the state of everybody else in creation, and we are all absolutely equal in this shared experience, and in fact we are all literally of one mind, that's when you begin to really understand what consciousness is, and that's when things begin to change for you. Now, on all of the broadcasts that I've brought to you since the inception of this radio program, what I've tried to bring you is basic and simple truth. Of course, all I can offer you is the basic and simple truths as I understand them from my perspective. But of course, that's because that is all that I can offer you. But what I've tried to bring you is basic, simple truth. And I've attempted to help awaken you to certain things that I believe you may have forgotten about yourself and about reality. That's been my purpose in doing all of these radio broadcasts. And this has also been my purpose in remaining anonymous the way I have. A lot of people have asked me why I choose not to put my face on the video clips and why I've never posted a picture of myself on the internet. And the reason I've done this, and it's something that I've told you before, but I'll tell you again in case you've forgotten. The reason I've done this is because when you hear information from someone, you immediately associate it with that person, and you judge the information by what that person looks like, whether they are good looking or bad looking, or short or tall, or whether you find them attractive or not, or how they hold themselves. We form these opinions of people based on their physical appearance. We just have a habit of doing that. And not only that, but we've been trained to do that. We have usually a very superficial understanding of people. We tend to judge them by what they look like, and we're taught that we must groom and preen ourselves all the time in order to look the way we believe we should look as well. And so, whether we want to admit it or not, we do tend to judge people very much by their appearance. But when I talk to you, you are not able to project any physical image onto the information. And therefore, most people tend to project themselves onto the information. And that's what I believe is important for people to do, because it's not about who I am. It's not about what I look like. It's about the words that I'm speaking and the basic truths that I'm offering you. And the other reason that I've never put my face out there is because I need for people to understand these things about themselves, because this is how consciousness will shift. And I need them to understand that all I'm offering them is my basic and simple truth for their consideration. And I'm not doing it for fame or for fortune or for any other reason, other than the fact that I wish to improve reality by my presence in it. I believe the conscious mind of man is being granted a huge opportunity to shift to higher realms, if you will. A huge opportunity to come into all that we could be. And I wish to assist in that shift. I can see that much of humankind, much of the mind of man is out of balance at the moment. There are people that are too focused on the physical and people that are too focused on the spiritual. There are very few people that are seeing things as they really are and are finding the balance between the two. And too many people that are failing to apply their spiritual understandings to the world around them, and thus the cycle is perpetuated. And I truly do believe that we are being given a huge opportunity to deal with this at this moment in history. All we have to do is open our eyes and really take stock of what's going on around us. And the best way to do that, as I've so very often said, is to change our perspective of what reality is, change our perspective of what others are, and stop seeing others as being divided from ourselves, because we are truly of one mind, experiencing itself as different aspects of that mind. And we're never going to be able to fix anything until we can start looking at things that way. We've got to get rid of the pretense. We've got to get rid of the division that people hold for each other. And we've got to stop looking for solutions in places that are external to ourselves. Because the real truth is in knowing ourselves, knowing who and what we are, and knowing how to apply ourselves to creation, knowing where we stand in creation, knowing where we stand in relation to our government, to our Creator, to all society, to the people around us, knowing exactly who and what we are, having acceptance for that, and knowing how to exercise the power that we have. Because we are incredibly powerful beings, folks, and once we realize this power that is latent within ourselves, we can change everything. And if you think we're not powerful, folks, well, look at what we've created. I mean, this whole society, this whole mess that we're swimming in right now, we created all of this. But the thing is, we let others create it for us because we were lulled into a state of sleep. But now we're waking up from that sleep. And once we realize the power that we have, we can change everything. And all we need to do to exercise this power is to be ourselves. Realize the system is fiction and step away from it, because it is fiction. We don't have to have a world that functions anything like the one that we have at the moment. The problem is that we've just been taught that this is the way things are. This is the world that's real. It's all about the economy and don't rock the boat. That's what we've been taught. And this belief has resulted in every single problem that we face. But you can see, when you really look at the broader perspective, you can see that this problem has become manifest because we have forgotten who and what we are. And that's all I've attempted to offer you on the shows. That's why I've just attempted to bring you these basic truths. And that's why so many people have contacted me and said, Max, it's like you're speaking words from my own heart. It's because it's just basic truths, folks. It's just common sense. And that's why I don't want anything. I don't want to sell any information to you. I just want to offer you a basic truth. Because when you understand this basic truth, you can change your reality. And that's how consciousness shifts. When people understand who and what they are, have acceptance for who and what they are, stand in that, and exercise the rights that they all have, exercise the power that they all have. There is no one that has any right of ownership over anybody in this world. The only person who has a right of ownership over you is yourself. Even your Creator has given you free will. You may feel that your Creator does own you in some way because your Creator created you, but because you were created with free will, the perfect frequency of creation that is you has the ability to do and be anything it wants to be. There is no reason why anybody on this earth should be answerable to anybody else for any of their actions, as long as their actions do not interfere with anybody else. And there's no reason why you should judge anybody else for performing any action or doing anything that doesn't interfere with your ability to be yourself to your fullest potential. So there's no reason for you to have animosity and judge other people the way you do. Unless they impinge upon your ability to be you, then what possible complaint could you have with these people? And if they are impinging upon your ability to be yourself, then what we probably have is some energy harvesting going on. And if you simply come to the realization that no one has a right of ownership over you, and you refuse to comply with the demands of another, then that will once again free you from that energetic connection. Just that simple realization. Of course, there are exceptions to this rule when people may be in prison or some other type of external circumstance, but as a general rule in society, this is the way it goes. And of course, there are other circumstances as well, and we might touch on this a little bit after the break. But it's break time here, folks, so I'll leave it there for now. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and I'll speak to you again in a few minutes.